In this topic, we're going to look at how to work out the range and interquartile range of a data set. Okay, now it's very important that we understand exactly what the range is, and basically the range tells us how spread out the data is. So it's a measure of variance in the data. Now, if I show you this data set that I have here on a number line, I'll give you some idea of what the range is. So what I'm interested in is how spread out the data is. In other words, I want to know what is the gap between the biggest and smallest point in the data. That will tell me how spread out it is. And if we see this data point here is 10, this data point here is 2, that means the data is spread out over a space of 8. So in other words, what we've done is we've done the biggest value, take away the smallest value, and that gives us 8. Let's have a look at another example. So again, we have a data set here, and I'm interested in working out the range. So if I show you the data set on a number line, again, I'm interested in how spread out is this data. So I want to know what's the space between the biggest value and the smallest value. And if we look, the biggest value is 39, the smallest value is 13. That means the gap in between, the space in between, is going to be 39, the biggest value, take away 13, take away the smallest value, which gives us 26. So this data is spread out over 26 spaces. Okay, here's a few for you to have a go at. So see if you can work out the range for these data sets here.
How do we find the interquartile range? The vocabulary is quartiles. These are the values that divide a list of numbers into quarters. So you'll have 4 different sections. A lower quartile is the median of the lower half of a set of data, and the upper quartile is the median of the upper half of a set of data. A review: the range is the difference between the greatest and the least values in a data set. And what we're looking for today, the interquartile range, is the range in the middle of the data. It is the difference between the upper and the lower quartiles. Wanted to show you a picture of the interquartile range as a visual. Remember that the quartiles are split up into 4 sections. If you have 4 sections, they're all 25% each. They're quarters. The interquartile range is the middle 50%. And you can find the interquartile range by finding the upper quartile, subtract the lower quartile. Our goal is to find the interquartile range of the following data. Always, 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 the first thing you have to do is put the numbers in order from least to greatest. So here are our numbers. If we were to put them in order from least to greatest, they would be like this: 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Now we're good to go. Remember, to find the interquartile range, you're going to have to look for 3 things. First thing's your median. You have to find your median so you can split your data into halves. Then find the lower quartile and the upper quartile. Alright, so let's go ahead and find the median. Remember that the median is the center of the data. So here's our data. Now we have to cross out until we get to the center. First, last, first, last, first, last. Now if you notice here, we have 2 numbers in the middle. You can only have 1 median. If there are 2 numbers, add together and divide by 2, which you're finding the mean of those numbers. So 4 plus 5 divided by 2. 4 plus 5 is 9, and 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. You can also see that the number in between 4 and 5 is 4.5. So that would be the center. Okay, Here's how we can split them up. There are 4 numbers on the left side and there are 4 numbers on the right side. Now, remember that we have to find the lower quartile. The lower quartile is the median of the lower half. So if we bring down our lower half, we need to look for the center of the data. Cross out. We have 2 numbers in the middle, so we have to add them together and divide by 2. Quartile. We need the lower quartile and the upper quartile to find our IQR. So let's look at the median of the upper half. Cross out, we see that we have 2 numbers in the middle, so we have to add them together and divide by 2. Whenever we do that, we get 7. This is our upper quartile. Now we have our 2 very important pieces of information. The upper quartile is 7, the lower quartile is 3. What is the interquartile range? That is what we're looking for. Remember that the interquartile range can be found by using the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. We found that to be 7 and 3. Whenever we subtract, we get 4. So in this example, 4 is our interquartile range. I want you to try this one on your own. Find the interquartile range of the following.